Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico, just bringing y'all a quick Redskins report. Right now I'm studying film, trying to get ready to make this tight end video for y'all. The top 5 tight ends in this upcoming draft to fill the hole that we have at tight end after free agency. Since we didn't get anybody really noticeable except for Logan Thomas, and that's not really notable like that. So we still have a huge need at tight end. Working on that video right now. But then I see that per multiple sources, Quinton Dunbar is not available for trade. The Washington Redskins are actually shopping Quinton Dunbar now. Let me go ahead and talk about this in detail. Let's get it. Alright, so we already know for the past few weeks, Quinton Dunbar has made it very clear that he doesn't want to play for the Redskins anymore. It all started with him approaching Ron Rivera and company, asking for more guaranteed money and an extension, all of that type of stuff, and they basically just, not necessarily ignored him, but they were like, just chill out for now. We got to worry about free agency, Trent Williams, Brandon Sheriff, Ryan Kerrigan, and all of that stuff. We're not really paying attention to you right now. We'll get to you later. And since then, he's pretty much just been having fits on the internet randomly. Literally just a few days ago, he said something about all respect is lost or something like that on Twitter. And then today he tweeted, "Trap my body, can't trap my mind." Which is basically like, y'all can hold me here, but I'm mentally elsewhere and something like that. I just all kinds of emotional stuff through Twitter. An hour ago, he tweeted, "Thankful for new beginnings." And he also sent out a tweet, it's deleted now, but there was something about him explaining why he's been hurt throughout his career and basically how the previous training staff wrongly evaluated his injury and told him he could play when really he shouldn't have played. He should have sat out a little bit longer to save his body for the long run rather than forcing himself to play soon and then missing out on more games over time in total. So basically he's just trying to get up out of here and he's trying to let everybody know that he's not an injury prone player. So far it looks like he is one, but you know what I'm saying, that last training staff was really terrible. So I want to give him somewhat of a benefit of the doubt. But the story of Quinton Dunbar is just so crazy. I mean, he was an undrafted free agent in 2015. He was a wide receiver. Jay Gruden looked at him and saw cornerback potential. We moved him to corner. He's worked his way up to being a pretty good corner. Pro Football Focus loves him. Pro Football Focus graded him the second best corner in the entire NFL in 2019.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
And he is signed through 2020. He's due to earn a base salary of $3.25 million. He's around like a $4 million cap hit, but none of his money is guaranteed. So that's why he's mostly throwing a fit. He wants to go out there and get that money that a lot of those other people are getting. I mean, you have James Bradberry, who just signed for like $15 million a year with the Giants. I believe when healthy, Quinton Dunbar is definitely better than him. The problem is whether or not Quinton Dunbar can stay healthy. And his injury-prone problems aren't as bad as we really act like. I mean, he started 11 games in 2019. The way we talk about him, you would think he only started like 3 or 4. Still, missing 5 games in a season is still pretty bad. I mean, especially for a starting corner that you expect to be there all 16. But it's not as bad as we act like he's just never there. But now that we're shopping Quinton Dunbar, that means hopefully we can go get a 3rd round pick for him. Because there has to be a team out there that sees his potential. In my opinion, I like him more than a lot of Redskins fans do. I think he can be a really good corner. Definitely a Pro Bowler if he's healthy from the film that I've watched. So I feel like we should be able to get like a 3rd round pick for him from somebody. Especially since he's more than likely not asking for anywhere near as much money as all of those other corners that just got signed. He may be asking for even less money than Kendall Fuller is with the $10 million he's getting a year. He just personally just wants something. But at the same time though, him and Trent pulled the same thing where they got all of their guaranteed money early in their contracts, and then near the end when there's barely any guaranteed money, if any, they complain about not having any guaranteed money. Y'all not slick. Me personally, I prefer to keep him and extend him for something very cheap, something less than what Kendall Fuller's getting. Because when healthy, he's definitely better than Kendall Fuller in my opinion. Not as versatile, but definitely better at being an outside corner than Kendall Fuller is at being a slot corner, in my opinion. Especially with how Kendall Fuller played for the Chiefs when he had a really off couple of years. He had flashes and he looked good in the Super Bowl, but he was not consistent. Quinton Dunbar has been consistent. So me personally, I prefer to bring him back. But if not, it would be nice to get at least a 3rd round pick for him, especially since he's going for so cheap. I'm pretty sure there's a team out there looking like he has 0 guaranteed money. If we just throw him a bone at this point, we can extend him. And we've seen what he's done on the field. He's a Pro Bowl caliber corner when healthy, and to get him for really cheap has to be appetizing for some teams out there. It just all comes down to health. I mean, he's barely even played 50% of his games the last 2 seasons. But either way, even with Quinton Dunbar possibly staying, even though I doubt it at this point, but with him gone, we definitely need to be in the cornerback market right now. And like I talked about in the previous video I put out, talking about all of the available free agents for every position of need that the Redskins have, there's plenty of corners still out there, pretty decent to kind of good corners. You got Bashaud Breeland, you have Nikhil Robbie Coleman, who is really fine superstar KO when you use the backyard Lil Yachty team. Then you have Brian Poole, Eli Apple, Logan Ryan, Jimmy Smith, Xavier Rhodes, who's way past his prime in my opinion. So I don't want Xavier Rhodes, and Jimmy Smith is probably the most talented cornerback available, but he's up there in age and he hasn't been healthy the past couple of seasons. But if everybody that were available in the cornerback free agent market right now were all fully healthy, then Jimmy Smith would easily be the best option out there, but he's been injury prone the past couple of years and he's up there in age. Age hasn't hurt him as much as it has hurt Xavier Rhodes, because even when Xavier Rhodes is on the field and relatively healthy, he just didn't look good last year. Jimmy Smith still shows that he has some of that talent in him. Then you also have Ronald Darby, Prince Amukamara. There's a lot of cornerbacks out there that you can get decent value out of right now. At this point, you're not about to bring in somebody that's just a bona fide Pro Bowl starter, but in my opinion, if we can go get Bashaud Breeland for relatively cheap, who also wants to play for us. He said publicly that he would love to reunite with Kendall Fuller in DC just a couple of days ago. So I see that as a match made in heaven. Hopefully if we can keep Quinton Dunbar, Breeland would be a good corner to start opposite of him. But Logan Ryan had probably the best 2019 season out of all of the cornerbacks available in the market right now. So I wouldn't mind bringing in Logan Ryan for something cheap also, instead of Bashaud Breeland. But whoever we bring in, hopefully if we get Chase and our front four is crazy with the pass rush and all of that, all of our DBs will be able to play aggressive, and quarterbacks won't even have enough time to dice up our DBs. So hopefully Quinton Dunbar's absence won't hurt us too much anyway, because our pass rush is going to be so dominant. But we'll see though. This Quinton Dunbar news is not surprising. Ron Rivera said months ago that anybody that is not 110% dedicated to the team and the organization and willing to put their all in, he's pretty much just going to get rid of you. I think they're honestly trying to move Trent, but they're not about to settle and take a pick that's less than a 2nd rounder if they don't have to. And right now teams aren't offering 2nd rounders. It's only 3rds and worse. They may just wait till the trade deadline to get rid of Trent. Quinton Dunbar's market is a little bit weirder. We don't know if he's worth maybe a 2nd, or he may just only be worth 5ths to teams right now. We don't even exactly know what his market is. So we'll have to see when more news comes out and everything as this story develops and all of that. And me personally, if we do end up trading Trent and or Quinton Dunbar, I prefer picks than players, especially 3rd round or hires, because this draft is very deep when it comes to receivers. There's going to be some really good corners available later. There's going to be some pretty good offensive linemen available later. So if we can get a 2nd or 1st for any combination of those two or whatever we have to do, I'm definitely down to do it. But if we do trade Quinton Dunbar, we're going to really need to figure out this cornerback position, because even with Quinton Dunbar going into the 2020 season, it's still a little ugly. Without him, it's almost panic mode. I mean, you never know if Fabian Moreau or Jimmy Moreland might step up, but Kendall Fuller is more of a slot cornerback, so he can't really help us in that department. Kendall Fuller, if anything, would be better at free safety than outside corner. So the Redskins really have some work to do. And now it sounds like after I evaluate the top 5 tight ends in the draft to fill our tight end need, the video after that's going to have to be cornerback, because now we need to start really paying attention to cornerbacks in the draft. So I'm going to do a video on the top, because cornerbacks are different from tight ends, especially with this tight end class is pretty weak. After you leave the top 5, there's really no point in taking any of those guys before like the 5th round. So I may do like the top 8 or 10 corners or something like that. We'll see though. And then of course I have to do the top receivers and stuff, all of that type of stuff. I'm gonna do a video for each position that we really need. But yeah, man, that's really just it for this video. I appreciate the support, everybody. Please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't. Infinite content coming. I'm gonna keep spamming y'all, and I appreciate the view. Catch y'all later. I'm out.